Pattern drawing dates back to the earliest move made by man in order to keep records in a coded manner. The hashtag pattern drawn on rocks in South African cave is 73,000 years old. That was in the Stone Age. Pattern drawing has since evolved into quite a number of applications, ranging from baby toys, garment making, storybooks, 2 and 3-dimensional drawings, and even helps coders on their ways to becoming better programmers. In this trading series, I'll use basic Python codes to help beginners sharpen their skills while building exciting patterns which can even be monetized. This Python pattern drawing course is presented to you by Code with Ozzy. Hi, my name is Ozichi Ore from Code with Ozzy channel. Before I continue, I'll give a big shout out to my subscribers for helping me to reach other people. Your subscriptions, liking and following me helps me to extend my reach. So in this course, I'm going to show to you an overview of Python pattern programming in Python. So we're going to be doing pattern programming in Python. So already I have a list of different functions containing different patterns. We're going to test each one out. So first we'll test the draw square function. So before I run this code, I will explain what this draw function means. So first, these rows, I have a row variable that contains an input that only takes an integer. This question asks how many rows for a square. Same for the columns, another variable with an input of how many columns for your square. So I looped using a range. I use the row function because rows go down, columns move right and left. So rows come first before columns. They're the ones that contain each columns and their data line by line. So I started with the rows first as the iterator. Then inside my loop, I created another for loop for the column. I created another for loop for the column. So this I then created another for loop for my columns and also contained the range of the columns that were answered in this question. So I put this print function with my string of what I want to print. I put my asterisk, so we'll be using asterisk as a key for drawing, and I had to put like a lot of space for it to be more legible and expanded, and we ended this end column. Let me tell you why we use this end function. Because in a row we have row 1, row 2, we have different rows. So in this row we have columns. So if I didn't include this end function, it prints this thing on every line, like C, 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 C. But this end meaning that we haven't ended the string, we should still continue as it goes on. So after this, had to put this print stateless function to end this end parameters here. So let's run it. Let me run this code. It asks how many rows for your square. Let me just say 4. And how many columns? Sorry, 4, 2. Now you can see our square. You can also call this a rectangle because, for example, if I put 4 rows and 6 columns, It has 4 rows and 6 columns. So now we successfully done our drawing of our square. So next we'll move to the drawing of the left side triangle. So we change this function to left side triangle. So in this left side triangle, this is how it looks like. It looks like asterisk. This is how it's positioned as multiple asterisks, and so on and so on. So I asked for the number of rows for our left-sided triangle is the same as the square. I asked for an input, then I looked over my rows with a for loop using the range rows. I also use this column function, column iterator, with the range of the rows plus 1. For example, if the row equal to 1, then, and for example, if the row equals to 10, then the first, every time it brings each number 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But the reason I added this plus 1, because for example, this 0, you can't just print like empty, an empty asterisk without any value inside. So I had to add this plus 1 to make this 0 1 and make this 2 and 3 and so on. I also added this end function with my asterisk and the number of spaces, and I ended this print. So now let's check this function we've done now. It asks for the number of rows for our left-sided triangle. For example, if I say 5, now it has 5 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, arranged in its order. So now we've successfully done our left side triangle. So now we'll look at the other function, our right side triangle. So first, I put the draw triangle first. So I'll just test the triangle first. So in this triangle, maybe I should just remove this. So in this triangle, I asked for the same number of rows. For this one, this logic was different from our other functions. So first we traded for our rows into range rows. So a normal triangle looks like this, like something like this. It's like arranged in its order. So first I added the spaces. I used the function I'll use for the range that I calculated, the range that will be needed for the spaces before our asterisk. So it is the rows minus the row plus 1. So I added the spaces for each space. It prints a space and also puts the end function in order not to just close this column. Then I put my column sign, my column iterator with the range row plus 1. Here I printed my asterisk with my end function. So also I now putted my ending space, which is not really needed. I just put it there for you to understand. And I close my row with this print function. So now let's run it. Ask how many rows. If I put 10, if I put 10, here we can see our triangle, our triangle shaped in its order. So now we successfully, first we can count the rows, 2, 3, 4, 5. If we count it, you'll see successfully 10 rows. So now we've drawn our triangle. Now let's move to the right-sided triangle, which is one of the trickiest parts of drawing, of pattern drawing. Here I place the code, right side triangle. So in this right-sided triangle, maybe I can remove this. In this right-sided triangle, we ask for the number of rows that are needed for it. So first, like a right-sided triangle looks like this. Starts from here and here and here and so on. So though we put the space iterator for the number in the range of our rows. How many rows? For example, if the rows are 10, if the rows are 10, 10, then each row will create 0, 1. So for example, if it's 0, it starts upside down. So we have the space iterator. Then we add our spaces with our end of functional to close the spaces. Then we have our colon iterator with row plus 1. And we print our asterisks and end it. So here we don't, so here I forgot, after this we put our print function to close our row, to close our row. So now let's run it to see how it works. Ask how many rows. Let me just say like 5, make it more legible. Let me say something like 10. We have it arranged in orderly. So for in your own method, maybe you can like put your own necessary spaces to your code. So now we've drawn our right-sided triangle. Then let's move to upside down triangles, which is also one of the other trickiest parts of pattern drawing. Pattern drawing. So here we have our upside down triangle code. So first we have our function declared and the row asking for the number of rows for our upside down triangle. Then we have our row iterator and our space iterator under it. So here it contains the rows. Like if I have 10 rows, this row for example will start at 0. So I said, so meaning 10 minus 10 minus 0 means 10 minus 10, 0. So in the first part of an upside down triangle, there will be no spaces needed. That's why I use this method of declaring the range of spaces, and I also put my print statement with the spaces and my end, meaning I shouldn't stop the spaces. I should still continue till it reaches its column. So here we have the column iterator with our ranges, the number of rows minus the current row y. That is our declaration for our range. Then I printed the asterisk sign with the space needed for legibility and my end function to allow this column expand till it's done. So here I put my print statement to end my row. this particular row. So now let's try the code to see how it works. How many rows do we want for upside down triangle? Example, let's say 10. Hooray! Finally, we have our upside down triangle. So now we've drawn a lot of patterns. This diamond is also the same method. I don't really need to run the code because the diamond contains the upside down triangle and the right the downside triangle combined together. So also I in these rows I put my divided by 2 so that every diamond has half of the rows. The upside down triangle and the normal triangle has half of the rows needed for a diamond. So now we've created the code. So now we've successfully created a lot of patterns. So if you like this video, please click the like button and don't forget to subscribe for more of my videos. Thank you so much. Bye.